Hello and welcome to another episode of Pat Baer's Anime Club. See right there, an ongoing video series where I take a look at something from the world of anime and sometimes manga that I want to talk about. It could be a deep dive into a subgenre, or it could just be me telling you about what's coming out in the upcoming season, or my favorite things that the current season's happening. And the next video is going to be like recommendations of what to watch this season, because I'll have been several episodes into several shows and I'll be able to give my general take on it. Today, we're going to do something a little different, and I'm going to review a streaming service. A little bit of backstory here. I have a Crunchyroll account. I technically still have a Funimation account. I'm not going to keep paying for it because now that the Crunchyroll Funimation merger with Sony acquiring Crunchyroll's basically going forward, they don't have that service, but not everything is available, right? Like, obviously, there's Netflix, there's a few things that are still on Amazon Prime that never got to anywhere else. There's other things, right? There's old things that are going to be on some services you're not going to have access to. But primarily, you had Crunchyroll and you had Funimation, and those were the big two. And you may remember that in the past, there was a bit of a deal there. There was a period before Sony bought Funimation where you could go to Crunchyroll or Funimation and watch shows from the other. They had one, they kind of were sharing their library. It was a way for Crunchyroll to have more dubs. It was a way for Funimation to have more subtitled shows that they could then pursue the dubs for, because they always had at least the subtitled version as well. And then that deal went away. And in the wake of it, Crunchyroll made a partnership deal with HIDIVE. HIDIVE was a small streaming service. It still is a small streaming service. And HIDIVE was going the Funimation route. The combination of having the subtitles, the simulcasts, producing the dubs, and then marketing them as home release, having the DVDs or the Blu-rays, and then also maybe trying to make licensing deals with some television networks and that kind of thing, but being the licensing arm for those. And it was a little more boutique. They were making smaller deals. But they had a decent back catalog, and they had some stuff that Crunchyroll was looking for, and then also had access to dubs, because at that point Crunchyroll had not started investing in producing their own dubs. And then that partnership ended when Sony bought Crunchyroll in January. That the partnership ended there. You would go to Verve.co, which was owned by the same people that own Crunchyroll, if you wanted to see those HIDIVE shows. And then some of those shows would show up. Some of those shows would just be on Verve, or they'd be like non-Biori. You could watch the seasons on Crunchyroll, but you couldn't watch the movie on. You'd have to go to Verve and use your Crunchyroll account there, and then you could watch the HIDIVE content. You didn't have to have a HIDIVE account, because HIDIVE is paid only. They don't have a free with ads tier, but it is a little. It's not that expensive, honestly, for a monthly access. Anyway, long story short, I got HIDIVE because they have some stuff I want to watch this season. They usually have a few things, and a couple of times you're like, well, they have a few things, but they're not exclusives, and there's always like an exclusive, but it was always something that it hadn't worked out, that it was something that I want. And this season, they do have a few more titles than normal, but they also have the stuff that you could watch in Crunchyroll now you don't have access to. For the first time ever, I'm paying for HIDIVE. The merger meant that now I pay for Crunchyroll, and then I eventually won't pay for Funimation after this month, or after like the 18th of the month. This is my personal thing. But then I'm also now paying for HIDIVE. So, well, who knows? Didn't really work out as well as I maybe expected, or the dream that, like, oh, well, with this merger, it's one-stop shop, and then you get Netflix every once in a while to watch like a couple shows. No, still not the case. Anyway, we're here over on the HIDIVE website. We're going to take a look at that over here. I appreciate that. We'll just take a quick look at this because maybe you haven't checked it out. HIDIVE, all capital letters, as I said, dubs and subtitled, and some live action, mostly anime. You see here, you can see my current queue is just 2 shows. I'm Quitting Heroing, and the Executioner. Oh, the Executioner and Her Way of Life, um, which are two shows this season that I was interested in watching. I have read the manga for I'm Quitting Heroing, and have Executioner is like an interesting to me anyway so far take on the genre of the subgenre of the isekai. And what happens if you are aware that that takes place and maybe you think it's a bad idea, um, that people get summoned from Japan with extraordinary powers and no um, way to or any idea of how to deal with said overpoweredness. Also, they got Lupin the Third, and that's cool. So yeah, you recently added stuff, and you can find the most popular if you and you can see here. One thing I really appreciate that they'll let you know, hey, this is exclusive. If you want to watch the Legend of Galactic Heroes, this is where you watch it. We got some dubs if that's what you're interested in. There is a in your settings, if you have the account, you can select if you prefer the subtitled over the dub. So if there's an option of both, they're going to show you the subtitle first, and I have that clicked on because that's what I prefer. Also, it'll say in the show description, it will say it on the title. This is not an ad. I pay for this service. I just want to talk about it because you might be like me, or maybe you really wanted to watch Sayuki Reload Zerion. Zeroin. You really want to watch that because you like Sayuki Reload. You gotta have your strange continuations that retcon previous seasons, that retcon the manga version of the Son Goku story. Gotta have your Monkey King story. Maybe you've already had HIDIVE because their partnership ended when AMC purchased HIDIVE, so you couldn't watch that on Crunchyroll, so you had to pay for it yourself. But yeah, this service works pretty great. As far I've only been using it for a little over a week, but I've been liking it so far. We'll look over here. I appreciate their release schedule very much. Let me know. Hey, there was nothing that came out that day. As I said, they put things forward to let you know what's coming out. All audio, English, great. They're going to have that episode. So if you want to watch the dub, it's coming out then. That's the time it's coming out. Here's when the subtitles are coming out as well. All of that. They do have a coming soon and letting you know this is the time it's going to be released. So if you want to watch that show, here's when you can. And then you go forward. I don't love the check back often for updates. That to me is like, well, just say if there's going to be something. I don't love that. That's one thing I don't love about the schedule. But I do like the release calendar. I do like the hey, this is the episode. This is what the audio is going to be. If this is a show you're interested in watching, if you're watching I'm Quitting Heroing, you know that, okay, well, that's episode 2. This is the simulcast. That's when it's coming out. How long the episode is. Like, okay, these are good things to check out going forward. And you can go forward a couple weeks. Can't go super forward, but you can do that. Funimation did this pretty well. Although sometimes Funimation was tough because their sub schedule and their dub schedule would be different, but they didn't really make it so obvious what was coming. You'd be like, or because sometimes it would be like the uncut later version of a show. They would put up a new version of it, and it was a little confusing. I think this is pretty dang straightforward, letting you know, here's the show, here's when it's coming out, and you can get reminders. That's neat. That's nice to have. And you can see it does have some color-coded stuff of simulcast, dub premiere. You can go to the next month and kind of look ahead, so that's nice as well. I just noticed that. I didn't notice that before, so that's cool. You can see, oh, here's the time. That's going to be the sub release because it's that color. Cool. That's the dub release. Great. You can kind of plan things out, and I appreciate that. Another thing to look at here on HIDIVE is, let's talk about exclusives because we haven't talked about one of the big things they have is OVAs. They go out to get the OVAs to get the complete collection. Do they have everything? No. But they do, I think, in my opinion, a way better job than Funimation and a better job than Crunchyroll. Because there'd be a thing where, like, I didn't understand this at the time, where like Crunchyroll would have, like, is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon? That's probably going to be in here somewhere. and they'd be like, "Oh, the OVAs came out, but they're not on Crunchyroll's site. But you can watch them on Verve with HIDIVE. Why does HIDIVE have that? I don't know why Crunchyroll didn't put the OVAs. Now, are the OVAs great? I think one of them's good. Most of them I'm not super big fan of, but it was weird. That was always a strange thing to me. But yeah, that is part of their thing is that they do pick up those OVAs. Some big titles you're going to find that on Crunchyroll or even Funimation, but it was never a guarantee. And I appreciate that that's definitely something they're more interested in doing. Do I want to watch all these exclusives? No, but that's part of any streaming service. They also have some live action stuff. You see there the Corpse Party there. And I don't know what that is. I have no idea what this is, but sure. They got some live action stuff. I'm actually interested in taking a look. I'm paying for it now, so I might as well take a look at some of that stuff. So I don't have a good answer for you. You may also be saying to yourself, hey, Pat, some of this stuff seems like it's maybe of an adult nature. Maybe it's very horny. And yeah, yes, that's also a thing with HIDIVE. A lot of it's very horny. And if that's what you're looking for, you might already know that, but two, enjoy. But yeah, plenty of the OVAs and stuff like that. We're looking on the website. I had a couple tabs open of the things I want to talk about, as you can kind of tell. But yeah, if you're looking for that complete and you're looking for those OVAs, you want to watch everything that's out there, even if the OVAs are, weird fan service or even bad, but you're like, well, I still want to watch them. Okay, hey, sometimes the OVAs are good. Like New Game, there's an OVA in between New Game and New Game Plus that I really think is great, and I was always annoyed that I had to go out of my way to find it. We'll just say that. There are examples of that, but yeah, and also clearly marked dubs because you're like, if that's your thing, if you're like, I really want to see some initial D dubs, well, they got some stuff for you. Hey, I'm just going to say right now, I've never seen the Place to Place OVA. Place to Place, Achikochi, I've watched and really enjoyed. I don't think I've ever seen the OVA for that. So there you go. I'm adding that to my queue. It's a two-part OVA. Ice Skating Misadventure. Okay, cool. I've never seen this OVA. That's awesome. Original premiere was 2012. So yeah, 10 years ago. This show's a little older. Very cute show. Achikochi, I've talked about it on this somewhere. We chatted about it. Cute and funny shows, I think probably was the episode. But I've talked about Achikochi or Place to Place. But I've never seen the OVA. So great. That's already money well spent. Very excited about that. Again, I'm only watching two shows. So right now anyway, I'm only watching two simulcast shows. So that's $5 a month. So that's $2.50 a month to watch, 4 episodes of each one. So $5 a month for 8 episodes. That deal isn't the best, but there is a back catalog. I was talking about, is it wrong to try to pick up girls in a dungeon? Here's the OVAs. This is where you can watch them if you are a completionist. And then we'll just really quickly look at one thing here. I have Nanan Biori Vacation, which is a movie, because they have some theatrical release stuff. So if you are a completionist and you're like, oh, I've never seen the Nanan Biori movie, I would like to check that out. It's here, and I recommend it because it's a cute movie. Couple things to point out here about the player. Of course, you've got your quality. That's good. I haven't run into issues with any, like, you haven't watched it in a while and you click play and then it has the immediate freeze, which I get with Funimation sometimes. They got a share button and you can change the speed. That's weird to me. Here's a thing that I want to point out. You can click on language and it's going to give you options, which I think is great. This is Japanese with English subtitles. This has not been dubbed, but if there was a dub available, you could watch that. Let's talk about this button right here. We can change it to yellow with the secondary being white instead of white. And so my old anime watchers, folks that have been watching pretty much longer or as long as I have, will remember that I don't know if it feels right. It feels nostalgic, the yellow text. It feels very much like a very fan subby, and I appreciate they give the option. Also, not just because of nostalgia, because of quality of life. There are certainly folks that would appreciate to have the yellow over the white. I go with white personally, especially with the. I just think it pops, but especially with older anime, sometimes the yellow does pop better. And then the chat now button is a weird thing you can do. You have to go into your settings to enable it, but and they give you your stuff, whatever. But basically, you're setting up a chat room, um, and if anyone else is watching this or has the chat room open, you can just chat with people while you're watching it, and it's not synced up for time. It's synced up for like who's watching. And then it's a new feature, which is strange to me, which is you can then get a share link and invite your friends. So if you want to do like a watch along with people, you can be like, hey, let's all watch Non Biori Vacation. Come hang out. We're all going to press play at the same time. That's kind of a fun feature if you all obviously have the service. But then other people could just pop in and like see what's up. And I don't understand why this exists. I don't know why you have a chat feature. Because, like, just open a Discord. Just open up your Discord with your friends are in and have someone screen share. Or if you don't want to do that, it's so strange to me. I don't know why. I don't know why this would be here. The chat rules, be nice or get out, is actually pretty great. But I have no idea why anyone would do that. But that's a thing you can do. You can just, if you wanted, you could have a chat going with other people. And I guess like when a simulcast like first pops up, you are excited and you want to talk to people. I don't know. I don't understand it. And then one last thing, you can see here, pretty easy. We're at the movie. We can click on the 3 seasons that are available and go watch that there. And then also they got the shop at the bottom because, as I said a while ago, part of this is that this is like an attempt for a little more of a boutique version of Funimation, where they're getting the licensing to produce physical media for it, and distribute that media. They're doing the dubs, they're doing the subtitles. Not everything is going to be dubbed, but they're going to make those partnerships, make those deals. And honestly, I think HIDIVE is an interesting element there, because sometimes they do pick up things, as I said, that are a bit less safe for work. That's going to give them the ability to garner some fans of people who are unhappy with Crunchyroll and Funimation and censorship and all that nonsense. But they're also going to have some exclusives that are interesting. Like I said, for me, there are 2 that I'm interested in, but that's not like they only put out 2. They put out, like, I think 5. They have 5 simulcasts right now. And competition is good. I'll say that. Even if I don't love the fact that I'm now paying for... I went from paying for 2 to paying for 2. It's still better. I make the decision not to do Netflix monthly, and I'm just going to wait. But I understand if Comey Can't Communicate part 2 or season 2, whatever, is the thing you're most interested in right now, then you would have Netflix for that. And of course, you're getting a lot of other stuff with Netflix besides just the anime, where this is like more boutique. This is more like, oh, there's some live action, but this is like, they're not licensing other works. They're licensing anime and things that partner well with anime. Yeah, and that's HIDIVE. I hope this was helpful if you were interested or checking it out, or if you see clips of a show and you're like, I typed it into Crunchyroll, I typed it into Funimation. Where is that show? I was subtitled. Who has it? It might be HIDIVE. Again, I said it at not the top. I said it during the thing. It's in the show description. It's in the title. This is not a sponsored video. I am paying to use the service, but I want to talk about it because it's something that I felt like I should cover here on Pat Baer's Anime Club. And if you have an idea for something I should cover on Pat Baer's Anime Club, you can leave a comment below this video. Share it with a friend. If somebody was talking to you about the merger and they were like, oh, I don't know where I'm going to watch some stuff, or hey, I was looking up for the show on Crunchyroll. It used to be there and now it's not there, and I don't know what happened to it. Where is it? maybe point them at HIDIVE. I don't know if HIDIVE is available in your area. That's the other thing. For my international viewers, I know it's available in the United States. I think it's available in Canada, but I also don't know, and I'm sorry. But yeah, give me a suggestion of something you'd like to see me talk about in the future. In the comments as well. If there's something, like, hey, Pat, you should do this. You should talk about this thing. You should talk about that. Like, let me know what your thoughts are. Thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.